Essentially, the young athlete must be encouraged to run freely with a smooth but fast action. They should appear to be running over the ground in a relaxed fashion. Generally, most coaching points and techniques can be divided into three main areas, relating to running posture or position, leg action, and arm action or arm drive. Correct body posture is always crucial for an athlete to reach their full potential, but due to modern lifestyle issues, few athletes present with perfect posture. To teach the sprint posture, ask the athletes to stand with both feet shoulder width apart and then rise onto the balls of their feet looking ahead. Then ask them to slowly lower their heels until they are lightly touching the ground. This position is their normal postural alignment, or what is called the neutral hip position. They should be encouraged to find that same position for standing, walking and sprinting. The sprint posture should be characterized by a neutral hip position, chest out and head looking forward with the shoulders relaxed and down. The athlete's knees should be pointed straight ahead with the feet slightly apart. There should be a slight forward lean, but this must not involve the athlete bending forward at the waist. The coach should spend a good deal of time on basic posture drills, as every technical detail of good sprinting is dependent upon a good sprint posture. The young athlete must develop a feel for this posture, and the coach may use a variety of words and exercises to encourage it. With a tall body position, a slight forward lean, and by remaining relaxed through the shoulders and hips, the young athlete should feel that they can move forward easily and effortlessly. When running, the athlete's feet should strike the ground with a flat foot, where the ankles are kept rigid and cocked. If this is done, the heel should be close to the ground at foot strike. The running stride consists of two major phases, namely the support and recovery phases. The support phase consists of two parts. The first part of the support phase is the braking or landing phase, in which the foot strikes the ground and the weight of the body is absorbed through the lower extremities. As the hip moves over the position of the foot on the ground, the second part of the support phase commences. This is called the propulsive or driving phase. Force developed by the hip extensors pushes back into the ground, propelling the body forward. In an effort to create a bigger stride, many young athletes extend their lower leg too far just before ground contact. This is termed overstriding and creates braking forces which elongate the support phase and hence reduces stride frequency. Overstriding is perhaps the greatest enemy of good sprinting, and the coach should be ready to recognise it and help the athlete eradicate it. At the completion of the driving part of the support phase, the leg prepares for the next foot strike. This is known as the recovery phase. In this phase, the leg should be folded up to create a shortened lever, which will reduce the time taken to recover the leg. That, in turn, increases stride frequency. Young athletes commonly swing the legs up too high behind the buttocks and do not keep the knee angle tight enough. Both of these factors increase recovery time and hence reduce stride frequency and running speed. Understriding, using a short chopping motion, or overstriding will lead to inefficient running. Athletes must work towards developing the best ratio of stride frequency and stride length to optimize their speed, remembering that velocity equals stride length times stride frequency. A major factor that adversely impacts on speed development is the lack of flexibility around the hips. For example, tight hip flexors will reduce the capacity to maintain tight joint angles in the recovery phase and may reduce stride frequency. Similarly, tight hip flexors will also limit the full extension of the hip at toe off, reducing force production and hence stride length. In this way, it can be seen that young athletes must develop flexibility around the hip in order to reach their speed potential and to allow their natural stride pattern and rhythm to develop. Carefully chosen strengthening exercises, such as bodyweight squats, lunges, and step-ups, will also help in balancing the strength around the hip to optimize technique and speed. A good sprint posture combined with good hip flexibility should facilitate faster sprinting. An important and often overlooked aspect of sprinting is the role of the arms. It is conceptually easier for an athlete to dictate changes in leg speed and leg drive by focusing on the movement of the arms. The swing of the arm starts in front of the athlete around 90 degrees at the elbow. From that position, the hand swings down and back, the elbow angle lengthening on the backswing. It is consistent with the opposing leg, which is now a long lever as it strikes the ground in the support phase. As the arm passes the midline of the body, it once again begins to reduce back to 90 degrees. With the naked eye, the coach can observe the 90-degree position of the elbow joint. However, coaching sprinters to run with their arms fixed rigidly at 90 degrees promotes a robotic, mechanical type action, which may reduce both stride frequency and stride length. A useful means of sprinting with relaxed arms is to ask the athletes to press their thumb against their first finger of each hand, similar to holding a pen with the palms turned in. The thumb on index finger position reduces the potential for athletes to run with stiff wrists and arms. Arm action can be practiced in a stationary position so the young athletes can give it their full attention. They should be encouraged to swing with relaxed shoulder and neck muscles, and asking them to smile while doing this is a good way of ensuring a lack of muscular tension. A short 10 to 20 second effort of standing arm swings before each run through is a good way of encouraging the transfer of skill into their running technique. Once a coach knows what they are looking for, it becomes quite an art to convey this to young athletes in a way that will be understood. When explaining basic running form to young athletes, make sure the instructions are clear, simple and brief. Fewer words with well thought out drills, exercises and coaching cues will work much better than burdening the young athlete with too much verbal information. It is good to let the athletes feel or see what is required of them. Posture drills and arm action drills can be taught in front of a mirror, or young athletes can watch each other to make observations and comment upon what they see. Also, the coach must be careful not to use terms that are confusing or send the wrong message. For example, telling the athletes to run on their toes usually results in the athletes extending the ankle and causing braking forces, overstriding and reducing turnover. It is better to ask them to run on the balls of their feet or to think of their foot and ankle as a loaded spring. Also, the term high knees is often used by coaches, but athletes with limited hip flexibility will respond by dropping their hips and leaning back in order to gain the knee height. It will be better to instruct them to run with high hips and keep their movements light and fast. Knee lift will come as a natural consequence as the athlete develops hip flexibility and strength. At the training track, every run-through should be an opportunity for learning. The coach should ask the athlete to go through a mental checklist before taking off on a run-through. For example, when standing on the start line, the athlete may check to feel good posture with high hips, check that their ankles are cocked and springy, and then take off, focusing on a single aspect such as arm drive or light ground contact. Once actually running, most young athletes will only be able to focus on one or, at most, two things at a time. Many young athletes will initially present with many faults, and it is tempting to try and correct them all at once. This is rarely successful and usually results in confusion and loss of confidence for the learner. Better results will follow if the coach can focus on the big issues, such as basic sprint posture and fast, free-flowing movements.